Have you ever heard of a person named herald? H-E-R-A-L-D. Not H-A-R-O-L-D. A herald. H-E-R-A-L-D. What does a herald do? In a time before television and internet and telephones, how would you know if the king was coming to your town? The herald came and let you know. And he would do something like blow a trumpet to get everyone's attention in the town so that he could make the announcement and say, "Hear ye, the king cometh." Right? That was the job of the herald, to prepare the way for the king. Because if the king came to the town and no one was ready or no one knew about it, that was not a good situation to be in. And so the herald was an important person for royalty back in the time of the Bible. The prophet Isaiah suggested that a herald would spring up, preparing the way for the Lord. The Lord is going to come, but before the Lord comes, there's going to be a herald, says the prophet Isaiah in today's first reading. Who was that herald in today's gospel? Saint John the Baptist. How interesting. I'm imagining he didn't blow a bugle. The image that we have of John wearing camel skin and a leather belt and eating locusts and honey. I'm not imagining he had a bugle of any sort, but I'm imagining that he did the job that he believed he had to do in telling people, the king is coming, the Messiah is coming, prepare. Isn't that what Advent is all about? Us preparing to welcome the king. Jesus is coming, which is why today's second reading from the second letter of Peter is so important, right? He's telling us the Lord is coming. Even though some people say he's not coming, he's coming. And will come like a thief in the night, and you have to be prepared. What are you doing to prepare for the arrival of the king? St. John the Baptist was a herald. Are you a herald? Are you preparing the way for the king and inviting others to open their eyes to how it is that the king is coming? So, the first image that comes to mind when I hear today's readings is that of the herald. The second image that comes to mind is that of construction. What do you think, Sydney? So, when we were in slavery in Egypt, what were we doing? We were building pyramids. When we were in exile, now that we had been deported and were among the Babylonians, what were we doing? Scripture scholars suggest that the engineers of Babylonia put us to work. We were building a highway in the desert. Think of the image for a moment. Did you hear those images in today's first reading, in today's gospel? Prepare a way in the desert. Now, what's it like to build? Put on your constructor hats for a moment, your hard hats for a moment. What's it like to build? If you were an engineer in the hill country of Texas, what do you have to do if you want to build a straight road, but you come to a mountain? Thoughts? You want to build a straight road. You don't want to go around the mountain, so you have to move the mountain. Dynamite sounds like a good idea, right? Dynamite that mountain. And everyone see that in the hill country? Go up 360. What happens, right? In order to make the road go straight through, what do? They dynamite the mountain so that there's a straight path. So, what are we going to do? That's what we'll do if we come to a mountain. What are we going to do if we come to a valley? We want a straight road. We don't want to dip down into the valley. So what do we have to do? We have to build a bridge or fill in the valley, says the Bible, right? The mountains will be made low. The valleys will be lifted up so that there's a straight road. And for those of us who were building a highway in the desert, think about this for a moment. Why were we building a highway in the desert? Because the Babylonians believed that when their god, Marduk, came, we needed to prepare a straight path, sort of like a runway, right? So that when Marduk comes and lands, he has a landing strip. That's what we were building. You can't build a landing strip up mountains and down into valleys. Can you imagine landing a plane like that? build a landing strip. Today's message of preparing the way of the Lord, of flattening mountains and building up the valleys, is simply that of preparing the way for not Marduk to come, but for our God to come. That image was familiar to us because we were building the highway for Marduk, and now we had to build a highway, not literally, but we had to prepare our hearts and our lives for the coming of God, so that God can come and land in your heart and in your lives. And I got news for you. If your heart or others is filled with pride, what happens? We've got to dynamite that mountain of pride, right? And for those who find themselves in low moments of life, what do? We have to reach out to them and help build them up so that when Christ comes, He can come straight into our lives. How's that for an Advent challenge, brothers and sisters? The two images in today's readings are that of the herald, how it is that we're being like John the Baptist proclaiming the coming of Christ, and how it is that we need to work at building that highway in the desert, straightening out the road in our lives, getting rid of the mountains, building up the valleys, so that we prepare a place for God to land in our hearts. This is Father Jamie's Sunday Sermon. Watch it, like it, share it, live it, go.